This is Deep Blue, where we get the true life stories of BYU athletes, coaches, and fans. Here's your host, Jarom Jordan.
On today's show, we talk with some of the best runners in BYU history. They are together, friends for life, growing up, teammates, later as well. Anna, Camp, Bennett, and Whitney Orton-Morgan. What's up, ladies?
Hi.
She's like, you go first. Okay, did you guys grow up together? Or you're from small towns in Utah and commiserated on that later?
Yeah. So we're both from, I wouldn't say we grew up together because I didn't know Whitney until high school. And then we were both in the small division. She was in 1A, I was in 2A. And so as we played sports and stuff, I saw who had good stats and who had good times. And so I paid attention. I definitely knew who Whitney was. And then I don't think we actually met until our junior year.
Our summer of our junior year, I think.
Yeah.
Where did you meet?
Basketball camp at Dixie.
Where? At Dixie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dixie.
You knew who each other were? Oh, really?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would always watch out for her times too because I was kind of competitive with the 2A. So I would want to beat her, it's kind of fun.
1A versus 2A. Uh-huh. Who was 1A again?
I'm Whitney.
Okay, Whitney was 1A.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like, here comes 2A and a Camp Bennett? Because 1A and 2A, these are smaller schools.
Yeah,
right,
they're really small. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I had some respect. I was like, she's fast. I got to show up if I want to beat her. It was kind of fun. But we never actually raced that much.
I was going to say, did you actually compete against each other in high school ever?
I think the funny thing is I think we ended up racing twice. And we raced a 2-mile and we raced a mile. And I don't know why. I just think this is so funny because Whitney beat me in the mile, which I'm a shorter distance person in college, and I beat Whitney in the 2-mile, which she's a longer distance person in college, and so it's just super weird. It's funny. We only raced twice, I think.
It's true.
It's just weird. But we did play basketball against each other.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah. So at a small school, you're typically not just doing the one sport, right? You're going to play a bunch of sports as much as you can. So let's start with you, Whitney. What did you play in high school? Obviously basketball.
Yeah.
And running.
Basketball, running, volleyball. Yeah, those
awesome.
3.
Were you pretty good at the other two?
I don't know. 1A. It's really hard.
I'll say this. She was the 1A MVP for basketball.
So you were awesome.
3 times in a row or something.
No,
really?
I wasn't.
2 times in a row.
I'll just tell you what I was. Okay? Can't be mixing this up, okay? I was all-state all years, and then I was the 1A defensive MVP one year, and then I was the 1A MVP the next year.
So you were pretty good.
I loved basketball. I still love basketball.
What position did you play?
Point guard.
Point guard. You want the ball in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
There's sort of this, alpha quality to a point guard, right? That comes out in running in some way. Okay, what sports did you play, Anna?
So I did cross country, soccer, basketball, and track. So yeah, we just had different fall season sports, but
you went to a basketball camp.
Yes. Yeah, I played basketball.
Sorry,
didn't play volleyball.
Yes, just didn't play the volleyball. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes. So you see each other at Dixie. You're going into your junior year or senior year? How old are you at this point?
We're going into our senior year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've known about each other, particularly in running, like track or cross country?
I would say more so in track and cross country, but I definitely knew who she was on the court too because we had played against each other before then.
In a basketball game?
In a basketball game at a different summer camp. We went to all the same summer camps.
Yeah, we did.
So I think it's kind of a funny
story.
It is a funny story. We were both playing in what was it? An all-star game, I think. Yeah. So we were actually on the same team in this.
And both of our coaches were coaching our side, our team. Mm-hmm. So it was just kind of funny. But anyway.
And at this point I had been thinking about, running in college, where do I want to go? And so that was heavily on my mind. And so I see Whitney and I'm like, oh, she must be thinking the same things. And so as we're sitting on the bench, as they rotated 2 teams in and out, I looked at Whitney and said, hey, do you know where you're going to go to college to run? Are you going to run in college? And Whitney looks at me and is like, I don't really know. I'm just trying to play basketball right now.
I was I'm really enjoying this right now.
I
came here to play
game.
basketball.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was kind of funny.
It's funny. She thought I was mean. She thought I was really mean. But I wasn't. I was just like, I just want to play like this game. I
You
want to talk
just-
about running. I'm
You
like,
just focus,
basketball's so fun. I
You're
just
like
want to.
getting bored on the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I'm like, what could be more fun than talking about running? Come on. We're sitting on the bench. We're not playing.
To a runner,
a
talking
second.
about running is fun, right?
Yeah, it's
To
great.
the average
It's great.
person,
It's not
running
at all.
isn't even fun. Let
It's
alone
true. So
talking
true.
about running, right?
It's true.
Very true.
Okay, so you go to this camp, kind of know each other, okay? Your senior years, do you compete against each other in anything? Are you aware? Are you forming any kind of friendship at this point? Or does that happen at BYU?
So the friendship part where we like actually talk to each other instead of just like watch each other.
Instead of dismiss her question?
Yeah. So just dismissing her and ignoring her all the time. I thought like we'll actually talk at BYU. And we came on our visit. We like roomed together.
Oh, same
And-
weekend and
Yeah, like we were
Wow, okay.
roommates. And we just talked in our lives. It was so weird. Like I went home, I was like, Mom, we're like the same but so different. Like we have all the same experiences, like with boys, with like our favorite, we both love chocolate cake more than anything. Like it's kind of weird.
Awesome.
But
Mhm.
yeah, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah,
to-
both
that's where we finally like got to know each other a little bit. But
Listen, with a roommate, yeah, you're getting to know each other. Even
That's
for a
true.
weekend, right?
Yeah.
A little
Yeah.
visit.
mhm.
Were you convinced that weekend that BYU was the place, or were there other places that almost got you?
So this is kind of funny because I think both of us, BYU was our last visit that both of us took. And going into the visit, I think both of us were not planning to come to BYU. I don't even know now where I was planning to go. But I think we even talked about that, like, oh yeah, we're coming, but I don't know if we're actually going to go here. And then by the end of the visit, we were both like, okay, I was kind
We're
of,
like,
I
crap.
wasn't talking smack, but like, this was great. Like, I really loved this shoot. I might come to BYU.
Yeah.
Who
And then
finished in second?
I was going to go to UVU. That's where I was going to go. Yeah.
I mean, I think for me it was between Utah or Utah State. Like, I don't know.
Somewhere in state.
Yeah, somewhere in state. I think I was great in high school, but not compared to a lot of people that get a lot of offers to go like other places. And so I was going to just stay local just because those were the schools that were talking to me and stuff. But yeah, nothing too crazy with recruiting.
Tell me about being an athlete in a small town. Because, like we talked about, you have to play a bunch of sports. But there's this misnomer of, well, the competition, whatever. You guys have overcome that misconception quite a bit. So, Anna, let's talk about Fillmore and Whitney Penguich. Just what are those towns like, and how did they sort of shape you and make you who you are today as it pertains to sort of what we're talking about, which is it doesn't matter where you are. You can do something great no matter what. Just because you're from a big city doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. This is something I actually really love talking about a lot because I think that there's a lot of really underdeveloped and underlooked at talent in small towns because like the high level of talent is still the same. I think the difference comes in the depth, right? You don't have, because it's just not as densely populated.
Sure.
And so I think that, I don't know, I feel like I've seen so many small town athletes become super wildly successful because they have learned all those things that you would need to learn to be a good athlete and have experienced it. And they're just as talented as somebody who has maybe more exposure. But yeah, for me, growing up in Fillmore, I couldn't have asked for a better childhood, to be honest. It was super fun. I was able to do any sport I wanted to because I think it would have been really hard for me to specialize earlier because I love soccer and I love basketball. And even coming into college, it was hard to let them go. But it was good timing for me to let them go. Whereas if I had to do it before, it would have been hard to choose running because like we talked about, running isn't always the funnest, or you kind of have to learn how to have fun running. But yeah, I think it's really cool too because in a small town you are a tight-knit community and everybody is so incredibly supportive and everybody, they know your business and they know your stuff, and that's for better or for worse. But I think I felt a lot more of the for better circumstances in my own life.
Yeah, I honestly feel like you just kind of hit that right on the head because we did grow up very similarly. Like I said, like when we talked, it was all very, very similar. And for me, I had always, like my dream as a girl was to play college basketball. Like that is where I put most of my time. But I also just loved, if I'm being honest, like I loved the competitiveness of running and I loved to win races. Like I loved that. And it just came to a point, like I couldn't have chosen earlier either, because if I were to have chosen, I would have chose basketball. So I wouldn't have even been running.
Which is a weird thought.
Yeah, which is crazy because
you guys not running?
Yeah.
Is a weird thought. Right?
Yeah, it is crazy. And now I like can just really see how like there's a reason, you know, for everything. There's a reason that came to BYU, met Anna, like all these things, and there's a reason I'm from Panguitch. And I don't know. Your question was more about Panguitch.
Small towns and your town. Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing though. Like I learned so much from all my different coaches that they coach different sports, which I think really does apply to me as an athlete now, that I still hold on to from learning in those different sports too, that I like would never change it, you know, like, yeah, I'm still very close to my coaches from home, and they still text me and like congratulate me, and it's kind of fun because it's like such a more simple life, and had no expectations when you're there. Like, I'm like, I just want to break 5 minutes in the mile. That was my goal coming to college.
You crushed that.
So it's just like kind of cool. And they were there with me when I had those goals. And it's just cool to go back and like talk to them about it. And they see where I came from and they see the whole thing. And I think it's really big for small towns to see that.
Yes,
because,
those little kids that see, oh, you can break school records, win national championships in any sport, right?
Yeah. I just think that's very, very important because for me, when I was there, I think Anna, she's always been like aspiring. I don't know. But like, I don't think I believed in myself as much as Anna did when she was younger, which is so awesome. And believing in yourself is so important.
Did you learn that from her a little bit in this process?
Yeah, I think so. Her, Coach Taylor, like this whole environment is very good for believing in yourself. But,
I know. Having gone to the girl dad camp with my daughter. Oh, yeah. I said to my daughter yesterday, because of that girl dad camp, I believe in you. Yeah. To my daughter, right? It was so positive, yeah.
And it's not that my coaches didn't believe in me, because they did. They definitely did believe in me, but...
Does Coach Taylor say it in a different way, maybe?
I think her expectation is just so high. Like, she just says things that, like, are crazy to my mind. Like, there's no way I can do that, you know?
Like, you're capable of accomplishing this? Like, she sees more in you than you see more in you?
Yes, exactly. Okay. And, like... in the smaller towns, they don't see that, like that level is often. So I think it's harder for them to recognize it and be like, you can do that, because they don't see it as much. You know, does that make sense?
Yes, maybe because, and tell me if I'm wrong, because you have to leave the town to do it.
You do,
and maybe being in the town, you have a certain, I don't know, mindset relative to how things function. I don't know. Thoughts on that?
I think.
Yeah, I think there's an aspect of that. I think also just because... like, my thoughts go back to that there's just underlooked at talent there. And so there's so many people that could be doing these same things, but were never able to get the opportunity because people didn't see them. And so that's
people?
what...
colleges,
like colleges, recruiting. Because it is hard to compare. Like, track is it's way easier because a time is a time.
Yes.
But then, like, if you bring it to soccer or basketball or football...
big tournament to be seen, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And I think...
You have to travel further.
Yes, yes. And yeah, even, I mean, this, I think most people probably don't know about this, but runners would, is even something like Nike Cross Nationals that people do in high school. I didn't even know that was a thing. I know Whitney didn't know that was a thing.
Someone has to tell someone it's a thing.
Somebody has to know about it to be able to aspire to it. And so once somebody does it, like I know for me, I knew that doing a sport in college was like realistic because my mom had done it, and I talked to her a little bit about her experience. And so for me, there was some type of vision about that, even though it seems like far-fetched at sometimes in my life. But yeah, you just have to have somebody put a little bit of vision and just opportunities. Yeah.
Vision goes a long way. Okay, so what did your mom do in college?
So she ran at Utah State. She ran sprints and triple jumped at Utah State. She did it for 2 years. She kind of wanted to see... she was good in high school in Idaho and wanted to see, just kind of reach some potential. And so she did it. She walked on for 2 years, and I think she really enjoyed her experience. And it was really cool for her to do that, and inspiring to me as a daughter.
That's awesome. Did your dad play sports growing up?
Yeah. So he actually, he's gonna love this when he hears this. He actually held the Idaho state record for the 1600 for like 18 years or something. Okay. I probably have the time or the time wrong, but yeah, he was super good.
Wow, that's awesome.
I think he ran for just a little bit, like not on the BYU team, but like was thinking about running for them, and then just life happens and different opportunities and different things. But yeah, so both have been incredibly supportive of like my running and everything because they did some stuff and they thought it was cool. And like one of a breaking point for me in high school was going to a really big meet in California called Arcadia. And that was a meet that I was able to kind of break out and see so much more of like, wow, people are like a lot faster than I ever knew. And like maybe I can be there one day. And the reason I was able to go to that meet is because my mom was looking up people and their times and like, okay, where does like my daughter compare? And she saw all these fast times from this meet Arcadia. Was like, I wonder if I can get like these Utah people are running in Arcadia. Why can't Anna? And so she looked it up and kind of found the meet, figured out what the qualifying times are and how to get there, and really kind of pushed that for me. And it was super awesome because all I ever want is just opportunity. I feel like that's all you can ask for. And so for her to make that for me was really, even at the time, I was like, oh, this is something special. Like this is gonna help. Oh yeah, that's cool.
Tell me the makeup of your parents and kind of athletic influencers or not.
My dad will also love this. If he listens to it, if he can figure out how to use
Dad's got to listen to
if he can
this.
use
Come
the
on,
phone.
man. On his throne?
My dad,
Is that what you just...
if he can learn how to use his phone.
Oh, use his phone. I thought he said on his throne. I was like, you guys must have a
What are you talking about?
nice chair in your living room or something.
He does. He also has one of those. But my dad was really good at basketball. He could double hand dunk it, slam dunk it, and he tells me that all the time. Very good.
Is there
okay?
proof of this, or this is
Yeah, I've seen the video. Okay.
Okay, good.
It's very, very proud. So yeah, at Panguitch, play all the sports. My mom did basketball, track, cheerleading, volleyball.
Sometimes cheerleading the same game she was playing in, maybe.
Seriously,
Who knows,
no,
right?
she actually did. She would change, and she would, yeah.
I have seen that in 2 a.m. 1 a.m. games. It's incredible.
Wait.
It's a real
Pause.
thing.
Tell me more about that. How does that work?
I
never did it.
Yeah.
So, but I saw girls
What do you mean
do
change?
it.
Like one half?
Like,
so maybe
you cheer at the halftime.
You changed to perform at halftime.
I think what would
Gotcha.
happen is like maybe they'd play JV in basketball or something, and then they'd change to cheer for varsity, or something.
Or vice versa.
Yeah, something like that. I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
Game.
I think I saw more drill team do that because they would perform at halftime. And then, I don't know how that was
pretty
one
good.
step too much for me.
Yeah, they
You're
had
like, you had no
time.
legs in the fourth. What happened? Well, halftime.
Yeah. So my parents both were very involved in sports, and they were really good. But I think it still is that small town thing, with not a lot of opportunity. And I think it wasn't as serious. That's how my mom would explain it to me when she was in high school. For her, it wasn't as serious as it is now. And she wasn't as intense. She was really good, but yeah, just wasn't as intense. So it wasn't something she like did later. And then none of my sister, my older sister, she was going to play college basketball, but then she tore her ACL and all this stuff. And she was who I was like striving to be when I was little, because I wanted to be better than her. 'Cause everyone would talk about how awesome she was and how good she was, and she was really good. And so that's who I looked up to a lot when I was little, and I would practice every day so I could be like her.
That's awesome.
So, but then I didn't do basketball, and I did running. So I think I used maybe those things I learned for basketball and applied it to running, maybe. Hopefully.
Totally. Do I have this right? When you're one of 6 kids and then one of 8, Anna?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right.
Is that something you discovered early? Like, oh, we have big families on that recruiting trip? Or was that later?
I don't think we
Do you even
talked
know
about
that
how
now?
it was like. I don't think we even called it a big family. But.
I think, it's kind of like, maybe that's a small town thing too. I don't actually know.
You didn't feel like that was special in any way? Because I feel like those are both big families.
They
I mean,
are.
yeah, thinking back on it, that is special. But I'm like, I don't know. She got 6, I got 8. I didn't really think too much about
It just
it.
is what it is.
Yeah,
just
like you
is.
always got to fight for the treats. You have
That's
to
funny.
fight. Okay?
Yep.
True.
Your older brothers are always trying to take all the take all the donuts. That's how
we
we related. Maybe
Yeah,
you have
we
to
do
fight
talk-
for the food.
We do talk about like our siblings quite a lot because I think both of us have had really just amazing siblings that have really helped us. Like, I don't know, it just helps. Like we were saying with vision, another part was I was able to watch my oldest sister play soccer, and they actually started the first soccer team that Millard had, and I watched them play all the way through, and it was like the coolest thing. She was so good, and so watching her and my brothers run and my other sister play soccer and run, and yeah, I think just having that vision of watching them, and I know I've talked to Whitney about this, and it's the same with her sisters. It makes a big difference. Like, you build off of each other, so
Yeah, we're lucky to be one of the younger ones. I always
Where
say
do you
that.
fit in
I'm
the
like,
scale there?
I'm 5th, so I have a little brother. But yeah, I got to learn from all my sisters, and I'm like, I feel very lucky to be one of the younger ones because I got to watch them, like Anna was saying, and see what they did, and I was like, okay. You know, like you kind of base yourself off that.
I can do at least that.
Yeah.
If not
like
better.
I want to beat that, you know, because we're
I'm
all
the
competitive.
oldest, so I don't relate to that.
Yeah, you had to be the one
I had to
trudging
be
through.
the sort of pioneer of like, all right, we do this, right? And it was fun to see my sister do some similar things, but then do other things, right, that I didn't do, which is cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
This is funny too because I actually fit as number 5 as well. I
There
never
you
put
go.
that together.
I
But yeah, I
actually
have
didn't.
1 little brother and 2 little sisters.
My main goal is for you guys to learn something about each other. You didn't already know. So check. The box is
Seriously.
checked, right? Okay.
No, everything.
So when did running become a serious thing that you were like, okay, this is what I do? Let's start with you, Whitney.
For me, it wasn't until probably after my 1st or 2nd year in college.
That deep.
Because like even coming into college, like I was like, I'm just here because I'm here for college, right? But I kind of was here for the experience. Anyway.
So when you came to BYU, you didn't necessarily feel like you were here to run.
I was. It's really it's hard to explain because I am a very competitive person. And like if I'm going to do it, I want to do it. Like I want to do it right and I want to see what I have, you know? But it wasn't like it was everything for me, you know? And I don't think it should be everything for you anyway. Like that's something I've had to learn.
Why do you feel that way too? Because that balance obviously is important, but there's also the like Mamba mentality. You're all in, and I'm like, you sacrifice certain other things if that's the case.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, can you be all in to truly be a BYU athlete? Because I feel like we have a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
Or is it like compartmentalized depending on when you are doing? I don't know. Tell me what you think.
I feel like it's something I'm always trying to better understand as of right now, how I feel about it is I feel like timing is really important. So like you use your time for the certain things in certain times. So like in the morning when you're working out, you're focused, you know, you're doing that. And when you're home with your family, you be present there, you know, like that's my goal. That's what I'm trying to do. It doesn't mean that I'm great at it. And it is hard sometimes because I'm just like, I want to talk about running still, or I want to like talk about like my family, you know, I don't know. But that's kind of how I feel about it right now. But I'm always asking to try and figure out the right balance, especially with like being newly married and everything. Like it's a new change and you have to adapt, and yeah. So if anyone has great advice for that as well.
Tweet at Whitney Orton or whatever
yeah,
your handle is.
Seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I feel about it right now. And yeah, what do you think about that? Do you have something?
About balance?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you said it well. I like the compartmentalizing. I definitely err on the side of, I don't want to say more the Mamba mentality because like he's fantastic, but like more on that side where I probably think about track more than I should and stuff. But I think,
and at this stage of life,
yeah, it's
this, and you're literally being paid to do this by the school, right? So it makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely think that has been something that I realize is I'm not doing this forever. And so these few years that I do have to do it, and my husband and I have had a lot of conversations about this too, where he's like all in with my running as well. Whereas we only have these few years, so it will be a little bit crazy on the side of like being a little lopsided in my life on some aspects. Like there's a lot of, it's funny because when the season ends, he always gets excited. He's like, oh, I have a fun wife again. Because like I'm just not fun when it's in the season. I'm not fun. It's like 9:30 and I'm like, okay, we need to get to sleep. And he's like, 9:30 really? I'm like, yes. And stuff. And so he's always excited. Like he loves in season because he likes to see me chase my passions, but he definitely is excited to have a fun wife for a few weeks while I'm not.
Fun wife, Jack. It sounds like you received that well. I don't think my wife would receive a comment like that well. Hey, my fun wife's back. What's up?
No, I agree with him. I'm like, hey, sorry I'm not fun. Sorry I'm not fun right now.
Funny.
I'm a little bit fun, but not very fun.
I feel like if you want to be great at something, then you can't have a ton of balance. It's just really difficult, right? If you want to be truly great, and I believe that you can only really be great at like one or two things, like really great. And for you guys, like best in the country is your best in the world, is your pursuit, that you have to sacrifice certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just hard.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like school got in the way of my education when I was at BYU. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
That
like
makes
I
a
came
lot of
here to
sense.
learn how to broadcast. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
care about memorizing humanities facts.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my GPA suffered, but I was never targeting a master's. I was just
Mm-hmm.
learning how to do this. And I feel like I'm good, but I want to become great, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm good enough, I guess, at this. So with running, yeah, there's something to be said about that, if that's how you feel. But at some stage of life, there's balance, and
Mm-hmm.
on weekends, you're doing your thing, and what's the cost? You're not hanging out with family and friends as much as you would if you didn't have running, right? Yet, running gives you something that you really value. So what is it that you find in running that makes it so valuable to you, Whitney? You wouldn't do it if you loved it.
Yeah.
If you didn't love it, right?
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's a really good question. Because for me, when I came, I wouldn't have told you I loved running. Because it wasn't.
Which we need to get back to, yes.
Yeah.
When you decided running was serious.
Yeah. I didn't love it. I didn't love that. Like, I was like, it's really hard. Like, it's a really, really hard sport. It's not fun. That was how I would explain it.
This. It's wild.
Yeah, it's not, but it's got something, And there's
Yeah.
a reason people do it, and there's a reason people just like have these huge dreams with running, even though it's like the hardest, like mental.
It's nature's sport, right?
It's
Running.
like I don't know what it is about it, but for me, I think it's just like such a direct that I can just directly see my improvement, and I want to grow. Like, I want to be someone that is better than I was before. Like, every day, I want to be better. Those are things I like strive for, not saying that I am. So I feel like running is so good in that way, because you can look through your log, like your running log, be like, oh, my workout, I did this workout last year and I did better this year. You feel good, or like you run a better time, or like there's little things you overcome in the races, and you just feel so good. Like, it was so hard, and I pushed through that. Like, that is such an amazing feeling, to overcome things all the time, because there's always something to overcome in running, because it's that hard sport. There's always will come that point where you're so tired, and you can either go or you can let it just take you, and you're gonna be really sad if you do that. If you decide to overcome it, like, you're gonna be really happy. And it's just like, do I want to be happy or do I want to be sad? When you choose happy, you are so happy. When you choose sad, you are so sad.
The cost of happy is tough.
Yeah.
In this moment you're talking
Yes,
about, right?
it is. It's very hard.
Physically, emotionally, mentally.
Yeah. But it's a good feeling when you do it. So.
And we'll talk about some of these moments for you guys in your career a little bit later. When did you decide, Anna, that running was your thing?
So I think, like, I really probably, I started to decide probably my junior year of high school, where I had got some letters, and I've always dreamed, like, even little, like, when I was young, I always dreamed of being an athlete in some realm. Like, I think when I was probably like 7, I was like, oh, I want to be an Olympic figure skater, and I never skated. I don't know why I thought that. I think I had a little doll that was from like the 2000 Olympic or something. I don't know.
Blades of Glory.
Yeah,
and
something.
you really aspired to that.
Yeah, something like that. And then when I started doing like little kid gymnastics, I was like, oh, I'm going to be an Olympic gym. Actually, I figured that one out really late. I was like 15, or no, not 15. I was like 13, and I was like, oh, people are already like world ranked by the time they're like, I'm
Crazy,
too late.
right?
Okay,
There's
gonna
Olympians
change.
that are 14.
Yeah. I'm like, I got to change that. That's not going to work out for me. But and so then when I did start, like when I was running, and the dream actually for me was soccer for probably my first 2 years, maybe.
You and Courtney Wayment, right?
Yeah. I mean, she definitely was a little closer to the dream than I was. I'll fully admit that. But yeah, and so then when I did start getting like little recruiting letters from colleges, it was like the coolest thing ever. And so I think at that point I was like, oh, this is giving me something back that I'm doing. So like I'm gonna fully commit into running. And my full commitment was like I know this is what I want to do, but I wasn't gonna let go of my other sports yet, because I wanted to be in high school. I wanted to do the high school thing, have fun. I had friends and coaches that were counting on me to come back and play. And play soccer and basketball.
You had a
and
basketball camp to go to.
Yeah, I had a basketball camp to go
later.
to meet my future best friend for life.
And
so
ask
it
a
was
question that she would dismiss.
yeah. And get snuffed by her. It's fine. Just kidding. Retrospective, I
important.
respect it. We probably should have been focused on basketball.
Also,
It's an
can,
all-star- was
can
it
I
an all-star game, you said?
yeah.
Yeah.
You're fine. You're fine.
Okay, can I say something though?
Please.
I'm looking like the bad guy, but she made fun of my calves for years. Okay,
What'd you say?
Okay.
behind
okay,
my back. Okay,
Listen.
just a quick little.
Whitney
Well,
Orton in
all the-
high school, okay, was super, like a lot of runners are. She was super, super skinny. And when she put on the giant basketball shorts and the big old basketball shoes, her calves looked so small. And so one time, me and my friend were
One
like,
time?
yeah, it was one time.
Oh, okay.
Me and one of my friends on the team were like, look at Whitney Orton's calves are so tiny. Anyway, so I did. You weren't the bad guy. You're just trying to play a game. It's fine. It's fine. I just was trying to make a friendship, but whatever.
We're making
Yeah, it's
fun
whatever.
of focus like it's a
whatever.
thing to be mocked.
I show her my calves to this day. I'm like, check them out. Those are nice.
Yeah, she's got, okay, just in case anyone's
got bulls
wondering,
now?
she got some nice calves.
Thank
Okay, I
you.
do. I tell her
Thank
often
you.
now.
I needed
Make up
that.
for my past, my past.
If you can talk about each other's
Mistakes.
calves, you're good friends. That's how you know, right?
True.
Yeah.
Hype up the calves, people. Hype them up.
Kalani
Yeah.
Sitake loves to talk about his calves too.
Oh, good
It's like
for him.
first team All-American calves. Yeah.
That's
They're
all. That's
legit.
all you really need is some good calves.
Yeah, some good
I feel like when
calves.
you know when you see them, you're like, those are extra good. You know, there's like above average calves.
First team All-American,
You
second
see
team
it.
All-American. Yeah.
I need to see
Tier
his
1,
calves.
tier 2.
Is every
That's funny.
day leg day when you're a runner?
I think
Ooh.
so.
Yes and no, because we don't lift like super heavy. So like
Ever?
ever,
With legs?
ever. Well,
Gotta take it easy.
yeah, like
We do lift.
we do lift,
leg
but we don't lift
workouts.
like heavy. Like we're not maxing ever or
You're not
anything
looking
like that.
for power
Yeah.
per se. You're looking for
Yeah.
sort of endurance.
So some of our 800-meter runners squat like decently heavy, but for us it is every day is leg day. But it's not like you're sore, like you've been working on your jumping muscles. It's like I'm exhausted. My legs are so tired.
tired,
Like
yeah.
my muscles can't keep going because I'm so tired. But it's not sore as often.
Gotcha.
I feel like right.
Yeah.
But yeah, every day is leg day. Yeah.
Do you need arms in weightlifting
Anna.
as a runner?
Ask Anna today
You
if
definitely
she
need
needs
calves,
arms.
obviously.
I mean, we do lift our arms. We want to look well balanced. I mean, we want to be well balanced.
It would be funny if it was the opposite of everybody else, right? Just jacked legs,
Yeah,
skinny
true.
arms.
That would
yes.
be kind of funny.
We do actually a decent amount of swimming, and swimming, okay,
Swimming,
that gets your
okay.
arms. That
Yeah.
gets your arms, and we do lift. We do lift.
Swimming's the total body workout.
Yeah, it's
Right.
a total.
True.
It's a total. We
Unless
do
you
lift
don't know how
arms
to
a little
swim
bit.
very well, then.
That's true. Whitney
Then
had to
there's an
learn.
issue.
Whitney
I
had
had
to
to
learn,
learn.
but
Okay.
she's a good swimmer now.
Let's talk about this because at Girl Dad Camp, Dilgy talked about this with some of the athletes, and they talked about swimming. She talked to some of the freshmen in the room, and they were like, "Yeah, we've been swimming. I'm not a good swimmer, or whatever." Is this a new development with the team that you're swimming more often? When did you guys start with this?
I don't even know.
Like 3 or 4 years ago, I think. But
So
then we
not
had
new.
that time when the RB was getting construction, so we didn't
Yeah.
swim as much that year. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think
You didn't want to go to Riverside Country Club with the swim team outside
yeah,
in November.
man.
You remember that?
Yeah,
No,
those were some
that's
pretty.
wild.
Those were some pretty tough athletes. There.
You're like,
I don't know
we'll
if we would
run
have.
in Terre Haute in the snow, okay?
True.
We'll do
Yeah.
that, but you
I
can't
would
get
much
me in a
rather
pool
run.
in the cold. That's just asking too much for me. They're incredible.
Yeah, hypothermia.
True.
There. Okay.
Seriously.
Okay, back to a couple things here. Let's see. Dave Rose. Did he coach at Millard back in the day?
Yes, he did.
The great Dave Rose.
Yes, he did.
So
Yeah.
Dave Rose and Anna Camp Bennett.
Right.
Anybody else of note from Millard?
Clarence Robinson.
What?
Yep.
Whoa!
Mhm. Was from
The
Millard.
OG?
Yeah.
The track and field complex name?
right.
Wow.
I'm trying to think of. Sorry, now you opened up, so
Please.
I'm saying all of them.
It's a
There's-
podcast. We have time.
And I'm trying to remember their first names, but the Boone brothers that played football, I think, at Utah.
Oh, we don't talk about
Yeah.
Utah
No,
football
okay,
players
we
on this
can't talk
podcast.
about
I'm
them.
sorry.
But listen, they were great. They were great. The Boone brothers, and there was
Super memorable brothers. I don't know them.
yeah, I don't know. It was a while ago. I
Yeah.
actually have never met them though. I will one day.
You're pretty high on the
need to.
power rankings then.
I need
of
to.
like former athletes, coaches. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good. There's some
Yeah.
good stock in Millard.
Yeah. How about you, Whitney? Where are you on the power rankings
I don't
in
know.
Panguitch?
She says I don't know because she doesn't want to say number one.
No, I'm not.
They gotta have a
Are there a
statue
few
of her.
other
No.
notables from Panguitch?
Huh?
Are there a few other notables from Panguitch? Was it Panguitch High School? What high school was it?
Yeah, it was
The
Panguitch High
Fighting
School.
what's?
Bobcats.
Bobcats,
Mhm.
and then
Eagles.
Fillmore Eagles?
Millard Eagles, actually.
Sorry,
yeah.
Millard Eagles, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are some people that went and did college sports. It's not as common from Panguitch, but especially like more lately, I've been noticing there's been a lot more people going and doing sports. Track Norris, he did
What? Track?
His name is Track. Yeah.
What?
His dad's the track coach, and
Well, naturally.
he's the best. He is like one of my all-time favorite people.
Any other
He
weird
taught me
names in the
so
family?
much. I don't know. I like
Steeplechase.
Yeah,
Pole
he
vault.
Weird. Yeah.
no track did the steeplechase though.
Nice.
Oh, good.
Nice. Had to.
Yeah, he was an
Couldn't just do
All-American.
cross country. Yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't just. That's funny. But yeah, he did. He was an All-American in steeple. So I remember like he helped me a lot, and that's why I was maybe gonna go to UVU is because track went there, and that's like the connection there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I looked up to him a lot. I know he qualified for the Olympic trials, I think,
Nice.
but I don't know if he ever ran in them.
Yeah.
But he was really, really good.
So
He
you're
was
number
huge.
one, you're saying? Is that what you're
No, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not. They're,
I'm just trying to crack the top 25
No.
list. So you guys are awesome. Yeah.
No. Yeah, lots of good athletes. My little cousin just signed. She's not little. She's an adult. I'm sorry. She does high jump at Idaho State.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's really awesome too.
Will you see her in a meet maybe, or are you going to not overlap?
No, I saw her last spring in outdoor. So that was
I mean
fun.
like compete where she's competing in her thing and you're doing your thing. Are you not going to overlap, or will you?
I don't know.
She competed last year in college, right?
Oh,
yeah,
she was
she
in
did.
college last year.
Yeah,
Okay.
last year.
Sorry.
I saw her last year in
Gotcha.
a meet, and she.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw her at the meet.
Awesome.
So that was cool.
That's cool.
Mhm.
Okay, let's talk more about what you were saying with what you overcome in a race. So, Anna, for you, what do you overcome in a race? Like, walk me through, because when you watch from the outside, it's not like this, but I'm just generalizing. Like, I always imagine, why are there coaches in NASCAR? Don't you just go fast and go steadily left? When you run, there's so much to it. It's not just running hard, but it's like, how do you get someone to overcome the resistance of the body to stop running and at a certain speed? That's what it like feels like. I did cross country like 1 year in high school. I wasn't even that good. And still to this day, it's like, I hate running unless it's basketball. Then I'll run all day, right? I like need the distraction of the ball or whatever. So walk me through from your elite running abilities, what it is you overcome in a race, physically, emotionally, mentally.
That is a super good question. I think for me, like different things hit me on different races. Cross country is a little bit like hitting the edge of my range for distance. And so for me in cross country, it's like, how do I keep going? Like, how do I stay attached to that pack? And yeah, a lot of people don't know, like, there is actually some like technique and strategy to running a race. If you're running, I mean, it sounds kind of silly, but if you're running behind people, they're cutting wind for you and stuff, and so you're not having to work as hard, and
Like
you
a
can
semi
kind of
on the freeway.
yeah,
thing.
and you can kind of turn your brain off and just follow their pace. And so for me, a lot of my struggles come through pushing past my mind telling me like, oh, you're not good enough. You know, these people have done more than you. This is an All-American. This person crushed you in a workout. This, like, all these different things are the kind of the things that I normally struggle with. And when those things take over, I always slow down. I always will slow down. And so, yeah, for me, I would say my mind gives out before my body does. And so if I can just get my mind, the races that I do get my mind right with like the positive affirmations and little like, I usually will choose like a little either saying or word that's like, I don't know, like commit, compete, trust, like just one of those little kind of, I don't know, power words, I guess you'd call it. And
Who's giving you the power word? Are you deciding it? Is it Dilgy Taylor? Is it
most,
something you've read that week?
yeah, most of the time it comes off of something that Coach Taylor says, but it's usually like it's self-instructed. Sometimes in cross country, she does give some direction that way, but most of it is like I mean, you've heard her talk, right? She's like incredibly inspiring. And so she gives us these pep talks before races, like a pre-race, little pep talk. And usually I'll take something that she says and like, okay, that's like, I found it. That's what I need to work on. Or like in cross country for me, like I said, my hardest thing is to commit to go with the pack. And so, my word was just like what was it? It was just commit, just stay in the pack, knowing that if I just did that, they could pull me to a better place in a better time. But yeah, so it's a little bit of both. She says inspiring things. I take what I want for that specific meet. And yeah, I think that's mostly, yeah, there's running definitely is hard, but there's nothing, there's like, and like we've played all the sports. There is nothing as satisfying as finishing a race. You've hit your best time ever. You know it was a good race. All the work that you've done to get there is kind of like fulfilled for this like brief moment until you reassess your goals, because then you got to up your goals a little bit. But for that brief moment, there's just nothing so like fulfilling. It's really cool. I love it.
So it's different than a team sport, while there is a team element to this, of getting through that barrier.
Yeah.
And like you said before, Whitney, you can quantify success in running that you can't in almost every other sport. Like if you're a left tackle in football, it's hard to know how well you did. But in running, it's merit-based, man.
Yeah.
There's
You
no
don't need-
opinion
you don't
there.
need
Like
anybody else to tell you.
gymnastics too,
Yeah.
right? Very opinion-based on the score.
Very true.
Okay, so what do you overcome in a race?
I feel like it does change, like depending on the year, on your situation, like what you've been going through. Are you coming back from an injury? Are you your strongest you've ever been? Like there's so many different things. So I could never tell you just one thing that I overcome, because I feel like I've overcome so many different things, and then I feel like I have to overcome it again. And then, so yeah, it is definitely like a lot of it is your mind, and like if you believe in yourself, and sometimes you're lacking confidence maybe, and you have to overcome that and be like, no, like I'm awesome. Like I got this, like those power statements too are huge. Just making sure you're talking to yourself in a good way, because if you're not, then you're not going to get even close to what you could do unless you're hyping yourself up,
Is it naturally negative? Like when you're in a race, or do you have to like actively fight that mentally?
When your legs start hurting, everything starts getting negative. And so you have to flip the switch, because your body's telling you, Dad, stop. You should probably stop. This is hard.
I feel like it does depend on the person though too, and I feel like it does depend on just where you're at too. But
Like you said.
Yeah. It really
The
does
situation coming
depend.
in. Okay.
It depends for me at least a lot.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
That's what I would say. It's hard to say one thing, but the mental is definitely, I feel like, where it goes, because I really do believe that your mental can overcome a lot. Like if you're mentally strong, if you're not that fit, it's okay, because you're still going to do good. But if you're mentally not good, you could be your fittest you ever are, and you will do so much worse. That's like, for me, like, I just know that if I'm mentally good, like, I know I'm going to be happy after the race, because I'm going to push and do the things I need to do within the race to be happy. Where if I'm not, then I'm not going to do those things, and I'm not going to be happy. So
we're learning more about this in 2021 than we ever have, right? The mental game. We're talking about mental health. This is tied in, right? Like, are you in a place mentally to perform physically what you can do, right? Simone Biles pulls out of the Olympics, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then I think we're more sympathetic now than we've ever been as to, no, it's okay. I get it. Yet there's the other side of it where you're like, well, shoot, I was taught to never give up. I was taught to push through this. So there's this sort of balance that needs to be sought there. That's tough to sort of figure out. Have you ever encountered that in your own career where you were like, I'm not necessarily good mentally today. It's not going to work, but I'm going to get better and then overcome that. Because I think we're in a better place today where it's like, okay, I get that. You just hope that doesn't happen during the national championships, right? Like in the Olympics, that was the question, right? Was, well, shoot, it's the Olympics. But mental health's really important. So there's this sort of balance. Have you encountered that with anything with yourself?
yes, for sure. Yeah. A little, yeah, for sure. I have.
Yeah. How about you, Anna?
I definitely think so, that I have. It's like what you said, it's kind of a weird balance, because exactly what you said, we're kind of taught to, you go until you actually can't anymore. But it's hard to know too, like, is and Simone's Biles situation, I mean, she's so good. She had nothing to prove. Like, she had nothing to prove. So
The
that
goat.
was, yeah, like, she's just so cool. But I know in different times, like, I've had, I would say, more workouts that are like, okay, I mentally wasn't good. On those days that I do push past mentally not being good, usually I have to like go to a teammate or a coach and be like, hey, I'm not good. Like, I need some help. And they're usually able to like help talk me out of it. Sometimes not. I'm always happier when I do overcome it. And it's hard because I love running and I love competing in this way. So of course, if I'm able to overcome something mentally in that, I'm going to be happy. But then I do think there are some things in your life that it's like, okay, you need to just step back and take a break for a second.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
That's the conversation now.
Yeah.
You know what? That's all right.
Yeah. It's like, will this be hard enough on you that you will not, like what Whitney was saying about happiness, is this going to be hard enough on you that you will not be happy after it? Because if that's the case, then no. But I actually had, okay, I'm going to share an experience now. In what year was it, the DMR? 2019?
Probably.
Yeah, I think in 2019, or no, it was, 2019, I was an alternate for the DMR, and I was going to run the 1200 leg in it, and I ended up getting influenza like the week before, and this was, pre-COVID, so you could still travel and stuff like that, but I got super, super sick, and I started, we were seeing, okay, am I going to be good to race? Am I going to be okay to race? And it got to a point where we knew physically that I was okay, like that if I raced, I would be okay, but we weren't sure mentally. And it's way different if I'm racing for my team versus myself, right? If I race and then I don't get an All-American, that's on me, sad, but it's fine because I didn't affect anyone else. Yeah. I was going to be the first leg in a relay, so 3 other girls, if I messed up, weren't going to get to be whatever it was that we could that year. And I went back and forth a lot and had a lot of conversations with Coach Taylor, like I don't know. And this was probably my first actual nationals experience. Like, I came on like way later than when Whitney went to nationals her freshman year. I came on, that was my junior year. And so, yeah, in between talking to Coach Taylor and trying to figure this out, like, I had a cough, but I knew I could run with it and it would be fine. And it got to a point where I think I probably talked to both my mom and my husband about it. And I was deciding, like, if I'm not willing to run when I know my body is healthy, like, do I actually love this sport? And I had to go all the way back and question from square one, be like, do I actually want to do this? Like, is this something that, like, I'd never questioned? You could ask Whitney. I've loved running. I love competing. I never questioned if this is where I should be or anything. But in that moment, I went all the way back and questioned, should I even be running? And as I went back there, and I'm like, oh, never. Like, and I went all the way back to high school. Never in high school basketball did I not want to be on the court. Like, I wanted to be, I don't care if it's a JV game, if it's whatever, another game at camp that we just added in, like, I want to be on the court. And same with like high school racing. I did as many races as you could because I just love to be out there and competing. And so it made me like really question deep inside myself, like, why am I here? And as I thought through that, I'm like, okay, like, if you don't step on the line, you're not the same person that you've been, which for me, that's what it was. For other people, it might be completely different. This isn't like everybody fits in this type of box. But for me, that question was huge. And I did end up running, and it kind of changed the course of my career a little bit because it went really well, which was lucky, because I think half of sports is luck, maybe even more than half of sports is luck, that just things turn out right and you don't get tripped or other things like that. And so, yeah, it was a really cool experience for me to like really question like super deep to my roots that I never even had to go to before. And yeah, that was a lot for a simple question, but
no, it's a really interesting topic because there's so much at stake, and sometimes maybe we can admit to ourselves in the past we've culturally with sports almost pushed too hard sometimes. Mm-hmm. Yet you want to kind of push people to be their best, so it's like, how do I strike that balance without breaking a psyche, right?
Yeah.
So it's tough. Okay, let's talk about the successes of your careers. It's been incredible to watch. Let's start with your world record. The 4-minute mile dribbling, the mile dribbling a basketball, right? Do I have that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
When did you decide, hey, we should do this? Because that was awesome.
So it was COVID. COVID summer.
Yeah.
You're like, we have nothing
And so
else
it
going
had
on.
been so long since we could compete. I think it started with you and Coach, so you should probably
Coach
go.
sent me a video of this. I think
A high
she's from
schooler.
she's a high schooler. She broke the world record in the basketball.
I wish I knew her name.
Sydney Mascarelli.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, she sent that to me and she's like, what do you think? Kind of, and I was like, I think I can do it. And then I was like, I have to tell Anna. I'm like, she will, there's no way I will do this. And she will just watch. Like, she will want to do it. So,
Given what we talked about with
Yeah.
your
yeah.
basketball practice.
I would have been very sad if I wasn't
Yeah.
invited. I think I invited as
No,
soon as you
you
said
didn't.
something,
I
I was
definitely
like, I'm
invited
invited,
you.
right?
I definitely
You
invited
did. You
you.
invited me.
But yeah, so I immediately sent it to Anna and I was like, you want to do it with me? And then we're just like, it was just for fun, Like, we hadn't raced for so long. We were very, like, ready to race, too, because we had our season taken away from us in indoor, and that was so hard, and we were so fired up. It's like any race, we're like, give us anything.
Yeah.
Like, we just want something,
How many weeks after that happened, which you guys were at Nationals when it was announced?
Mhm. Yeah,
That was very
actually,
we were on the
dramatic.
track.
You were on the track.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a video
track.
with Diljit Taylor. And
One
you guys.
case
It's
in the
very
entire
emotional,
state.
right?
It's fine.
Yeah.
Section of
And you went, can we just finish now? Come
Yeah.
on, right here. How soon after was this event, setting the world record in the mile dribbling of basketball?
We took time off, so we took break. Like, we did just like regular mileage in the summer. We didn't really do a lot. We did like 1 or 2 workouts with the basketball. I think it was in September, and we took our break at the end of March, probably.
Yeah, it was
It was a long
a
time.
long time. It was months. I think when we really decided, like, oh, we're for sure doing this, was when they postponed cross country season
Then you're
again,
like,
because we're like,
right, we have nothing to do.
Yeah.
we have an entire fall that we'll be together and
This
working
was
out
a
that we don't
piece
really
of
have.
competition.
Yeah, that we don't have a race,
Yeah.
and so.
It was
And
just,
it really
just for
started out
fun.
as a super chill, just kind of funny, like, oh, let's try to do this basketball thing. And then, Coach Taylor, you go big or you go home. So she got
It's like,
like
bring the cameras in.
Yeah.
cameras in. And at that point, we were like, oh.
We're like, this isn't fun anymore. We're like,
I'm like, I actually don't know if I'm ready for
I
this.
know.
Like, I don't want to hit the ball with my knees. I have to chase it.
No, like, we thought of that. Like, you like, it's not just running. Like, there's so many things to worry about. Like, if we lose the ball, like, everyone's got to go home. Like, we're going to ruin everything. I'm like, actually, I have to focus for this. So we kind
It
of got
was
a little
pretty
serious right before, because we're like, I'm not going to mess this up.
It's true.
Did you want to beat
But-
each other at it, or did that matter? Were you competing against each other a little bit?
I
Like,
mean-
hey, I want to be the winner of this.
I think the first thing we wanted to do was break the record, but then, of course, there's
What was
always
the
a
record?
competitive edge.
It was 5:08.
5:08.
Yeah.
Which I'm just going to, technically, I didn't beat it except for an altitude conversion, because for distance, you get an
Yep.
altitude conversion. I just have to, for my conscience, I have to put that out there.
Yes.
I only beat it with an altitude conversion.
Who finished first? Did you finish first, Whitney?
Mm-hmm.
And you beat it with altitude conversion?
I
No,
ran,
she beat it by a lot.
I ran 4:58. I think without.
You ran a sub 5-minute mile dribbling a basketball, and you were right behind that? Just
I don't even remember what my time was.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
That's
it was
crazy.
more like, I don't know. I think we were competitive, but I think the thing we did to kind of make it less competitive is like, whoever wins, like, the next person's got to, or like, whoever wins, they need to make a hoop around Coach Taylor, and then the person that comes in second's got to slam dunk it on Coach Taylor. We thought that'd be so funny.
It
so
was
like,
going to be funny. And then,
and then-
right at the line, I bounced it off my knee. And so I ruined it all. I couldn't
and I
dunk
was
it
like
on
by
her.
Coach Taylor, and I was like ready to go, and then she kicked it, and I was like,
And then
dang.
we're like, oh, now I can't scramble and grab this. And then the moment has passed.
Yes,
It was
the
too
moment
bad.
had
Would have
passed.
been,
Wait,
would have been
so
great.
it went off your knee at the finish line?
Right at, like, I finished and then boom, right off my knee. Or off my, I think it might have been off my foot, something. It was out of there. And I was like, God dang it. This
And the
sucks.
announcer was like, and the ball goes off Anakin's knee, and I was like, oh.
I'm like, do I have to tell everybody?
Did
How
you get a
embarrassing.
certificate? Like, did someone record
No.
it there, like, for the world record?
It was
Or
recorded. That's like, she
was
had
it
to
an
record
informal world record, or was it an actual world record? Like,
No.
I don't know.
is it in the book somewhere?
I don't
have
know.
no
You
Probably
broke that
not.
record.
Probably not.
Because sometimes, I guess, like, Guinness does the famous one, but there's, like,
Uh-huh.
other people maybe? Or,
I would
don't
say it's
know.
more informal.
It's
Like,
informal?
it's just
I
like,
would
oh,
say
yeah, this
so.
is on YouTube. World
This
record.
is on YouTube.
Yeah, if you were to look it up, maybe it would pop up.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
if I type, world record mile basketball, do you guys show up right away?
It's gonna be embarrassing if we don't. So
Oh,
I
yeah,
hope so.
hopefully.
Oh, it's some dude that did it 4:30,
Oh, you have to type
38.
women's. Always have to type women's.
Gotta
Dang it.
type women's,
The
okay.
inequality.
Here we Come on. Oh, it says Whitney Horton with an H.
Oh. See, that's just disrespectful. Okay.
Oh,
A
man, they really
basketball
came
mile?
at you like that.
Yeah, the first
did,
video
they
is
came
you
at me.
guys. Yeah.
Whitney Horton, huh?
Yeah,
Oh, that's a
Whitney
good
Horton,
one.
here's a who. Yeah. If I go to the very end of this, am I going to see Anna dribble it off her feet? That's the real question.
You might.
You
I don't know.
will.
I was actually I'll say this. I was quite a bit behind Whitney. I was quite a bit, but it's okay.
I'm
It was just basketball
amazed
mile.
by
It was
the fact that you could
hard.
run that fast, period, let alone with a basketball. Was it hard?
Yes.
Did you feel like the ball was going to, like, was the track good for the dribbling part of it? Oh, yeah, Whitney just jumps out right away. I'm looking at this now. Anna, you're right there, though. You're right there, which is great. Okay. Wait, I'm looking at the very end. Whitney's coming in. Just
You
waiting.
gotta see if I make the hoop.
You can see the anger in me, like,
You're like,
"Ah,
so
this is the worst." It
Yeah.
actually was super hard.
It
Like
was.
it was harder than it should have been.
Yeah.
Like, because
It
you normally,
was.
you know, you have your regular cadence and rhythm, and that's part of running. Is
Oh,
like,
took that
no
away.
stuff.
Yep. How embarrassing, huh? Oh,
It's all
man.
good.
Yeah,
It's all
it's
good.
okay.
Yeah. Don't feel any need, anyone out there, to go and watch that.
You don't have to go watch
End it.
that.
End it
Give
right
it a
after
thumbs
Whitney
down,
finishes.
okay?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So let's talk about school records and national championships and stuff. So, Whitney, what are you most proud of? Some of your amazing accomplishments at BYU, and which races kind of stick out as the ones where you were like, yeah, I felt proud of those ones. I was happy, as you said.
I did talk to Coach T about this a little bit today. Just like when I feel my happiest is when I overcome in the race and I do something. You know, like I say yes in that moment and I just give my all. That's when I'm like the very happiest. Because like even like my family would always make fun of me. I'm like, oh, I had more that race. You know, they're like, you always say that. Like you gotta stop saying that. You know, but like like being able to finish the race and say I don't have any more. That was everything I had. And I feel good. I ran faster than ever. I feel like you can kind of see on paper which races those are. They're my fastest races are the ones that I've done that I've overcome those things. So I feel like it's that part of the race that makes me the happiest. Of course, the time is cool, you know, like sweet, like that's so fast, you know, like I didn't know I could ever run that fast, like super cool, but it is that moment. So the races, I guess, that I could say that most recently was my 5K that I ran at Sound Running, where I ran my best time.
Was that in Irvine? May 16th in Irvine. You run a 15:12:91.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the one?
Mm-hmm. And I died.
Shattering the
after.
school record.
I just laid there on the track, like the camera's just there and you can see me like under the results. Like I'm just laying in my chest and just pumping. Like I was there for a while. I didn't even know my time when I finished. Like some girl came up to me, she's like, you ran so fast. I'm like, what did I do? I'm like, I don't know. Like I was so dead. Like I wasn't even paying attention to the time. I was just
You crushed the school
gritting
record.
it out, you know. But I was proud of that one.
What about the 1500s at West Coast Relays? 4:09:31 broke the school record.
Yeah, I was really happy that race. That one was just really fun. The 1500s definitely just more fun than the 5K. So
For obvious reasons.
I enjoyed it. I was like, that was so fun. I'm like, I did a 5K right before that at Oregon. So I went from the 5K to the 15. So I was like, that was just a good time. I'm like, I'm just happy to be here right now. Like that was great. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. So definitely those ones.
Well, you got to also tell them the lights on that one. They
Oh,
had
yeah.
like a
Okay.
power outage.
Courtney
Yeah.
was telling me
Yeah.
this. It's like
Courtney got to run in the lights though.
yes,
she didn't
that's
have the
true.
lights
like at
out.
midnight.
Yeah, she didn't
Yeah, she
have the
ran
lights
super
out.
late.
But
Past
our
your
race.
bedtime, we know that. But yeah.
It was. I was.
True.
I was feeling it.
You're like,
you
I'm
could have seen my
sleepy.
bags under my eyes. I was so tired.
Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy.
thankfully the lights were out, so we didn't see the bags.
Yeah, they
Power
like.
goes out, cell phones and
Yeah.
car headlights, and then
For-
amazingly, at least for Courtney, the lights went on right
Mhm.
before, right?
Yeah.
Were they on for you guys?
No,
Mm-mm.
our race was one of the few that was in the
Wow.
dark,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of liked it. I thought it was kind of fun. I kind of like running in the dark because I feel like extra fast. I don't know if you've ever gone on a run at night and you just feel so
No.
fast.
No.
Okay.
Again, basketball or nothing. I'm sorry.
But then you look at your watch, you're going like not fast at all, but you feel so much faster. So I don't know. I felt like I was like running the speed of light in that race, but I obviously wasn't.
That's awesome.
Um,
Can I bring up another race with you?
sure.
December 7th, 2019 at BU, Boston, home of the Terriers.
Mhm.
15:22:98 in the 5,000. Broke the school record at the time by 29 seconds.
Yeah.
How does that happen, by the way? 29 seconds? Do you ever feel bad for the previous people? You're like, 29 seconds? I just crushed this thing.
Okay, I think the reason is because not a lot of people do the track 5K in indoor, especially. Like, I'm like, a lot of people don't do it. So,
Way to lowball it, but yes.
okay, yeah, whatever. I had a chance to do one, and yeah. I was in good
2.9
shape.
seconds would have been good. Let alone 29. That's amazing.
Thanks. Yeah,
That's
that was
amazing.
definitely one of them as well, where I definitely overcame a lot in that race, and that was a big flip for me. That race was, because it gave me a lot of momentum for all the other things that I did. That was a race I will always go back to and be like there was a little change, you know. There's that little change
Like a confidence
in certain races where you're like, oh, I'm actually good. Like I did that, you know. It wasn't just me. I am very.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I do like.
I can do that. I
Pray.
did that, and I can
Yeah.
keep doing that.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so that was definitely.
You're afraid to be boasting. I can tell. No,
I-
I'll boast for you.
I feel that though. I'm not. I don't think that I am. That I mean, like I do think a lot of people could do that if they had the opportunity, you know. So, I do really feel that. But that was a good race for me,
You earned that.
confidence wise.
Yeah.
I
that
did
you were
that
happy,
one.
like you said.
I was very happy. Yeah.
Any other races stick out from your career that you like?
Um.
And remind me if I'm forgetting a DMR or a
Yeah.
championship or anything.
This last cross country race, nationals,
Yeah.
was great in a different way. I feel like I was, for me individually, it wasn't as big of a, like, I didn't feel as good individually. I felt good. I felt very happy with what I overcame. But it was more team. I got to see my team do things. And
Win the national championship.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
yeah. And like
amazing.
normally you'd be mad, you know, like, dang it, like they beat me, you know? And
They being your teammates?
my teammates, like you don't want
Because you
anyone
guys
to
are
beat
competitive.
you. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you shouldn't compete with your teammates. Like that shouldn't be your direct focus, but you should want to win everyone, right? I feel like
If
as a
you're all
competitor,
competing,
you
you're a
should
better
want to win
team.
everybody. You
Yeah.
know, you should want to win.
Who's your
but-
rival, by the way, in cross country? Men's, it's Northern Arizona. Who is it in women's?
I mean, there's
North
quite a few teams, but
Carolina
North
and
Carolina, Stanford's good.
Like where
There's-
you're eyeing them up at the line a little bit? Like they're the teams?
I mean,
You want it to be like super like
I think the men have a little bit more
The
of
men
like
have
a.
They
it's
talk.
like
They
a
got-
real thing,
yeah, they
right?
they
They
talk a
talk.
little bit
We
more.
don't talk.
I think.
I love it. I love
yeah.
it.
I thought that
Which
was
is
hilarious
fine,
when I
but-
heard that too. I'm like,
So you guys don't have that equivalent in women's. You don't have like a real like we're talking.
Honestly, we've like
no.
every person from another team that I've talked to is just so nice. And so that is one cool thing. I will say that is one cool thing about running is like I know there were soccer games and basketball games. I was not a nice person. Like I was not my best nice person
You were
because
in the
you got to
moment.
get in the moment and you know like
Be aggressive. And
but in running, you can finish a race and turn to your person and be like, "Oh my gosh, that was such a good race. Like I'm so proud of you. That was awesome." And it doesn't matter like obviously your teammates you're going to go to first and you care way more you want them to beat everybody.
Yes.
But you can still be happy for other people. So I would say at least right now, I mean, maybe if somebody was talking smack, I would feel different. But right now, everybody's been nice. There's no reason to be.
no one talks a lot of smack.
Yeah, everyone's
don't
just.
feel like.
We also might all just be so happy to be able to compete. We're like, we're not going to cause a fuss about anything. We just are happy to be out there and competing
Especially
and
after
able.
the pandemic and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Mhm.
And after a race like that, you don't have energy to be like me.
That's true.
You don't have energy.
You're out of breath.
You're like, I'm just happy I'm
Yeah.
alive, and I'm glad I made it through this race. And
Yes. The
you know?
sport where you would talk the least after. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Cross
Also,
country
I don't-
specifically.
And if you're saying anything, it's probably nonsense because your brain is not working properly. So
Yes.
anything that I have said after a race, I would like everyone to just not pay any attention to. Okay?
Yeah, they should have like a rule where there's no cameras or any
No
interviews
questions.
until after like a good 25 minutes because
Just
Yeah.
trying to recover.
Yes.
Okay. Remind me in the women's cross country national championships again. Anna, you finished first for BYU in that, right?
Mhm.
What's it like for you? And was it 11th overall or something like that?
Yeah.
At what point are you looking back to be like, come on, let's win this thing? Because it's a team thing. You're trying to score points by place. What's that like for you as you're like, okay, I just finished. Now I'm turning around. Whitney, where you at? Where is everybody? Let's go.
So
Because you don't find out right
Yeah.
away. It's not
Yeah,
an
you have no
immediate
idea.
thing. Yeah.
hmm Yeah, so that is a good question. I think this year I ran. So I watched Whitney for the majority of the race because she was leading it, and then I ran next to Aubrey, Frentthwaite Nelson. But and so I knew that they were close, right? And like Aubrey had got like ahead of me for a while, and then I like slowly went and saw both of them like right before the line, pretty much. So I knew they were going to be right there. But then the really, really amazing thing was I turned around and saw Sarah Musselman come in like so soon after, I was like, oh, that was like, I think we might have done really. And then McKenna Lee came in like right after her too. And so right after I saw those two come in, I'm like, oh, like something awesome probably just, I don't know what it is. Like
And
maybe it's a podium, maybe it's
yeah,
we had taken second.
Barely second.
Yeah.
So you knew it was possible.
Yeah, I knew it was possible. And so it was a really cool moment of looking around, and everybody, that course was the hardest course I think that I've ever ran on. It was in Oklahoma. It was just hills the whole time, like up, down, super. The last finish is like, you go up like, I don't even know how, a big hill, and then you get a downhill finish. But so half of our team was like passing out at the line and stuff.
The men had someone pass out.
Before the line.
Yeah.
But so it was kind of funny for me because I'm over here trying to figure out like, okay, what's our, like, how did we do? And I'm like looking at Coach Taylor like, did we do well? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to see the scoreboard and stuff. But then also on the other hand, I'm trying to pick up teammates and move them out of the way of people because everyone's falling down. And so I was like, I would grab one person and I'd go put them like on somebody else who was standing for, like McKenna was standing. So I'd like lift up Aubrey and put her over there for McKenna. And then I'd like go grab Lexi. And when I came back, they're both on the ground and I'm like picking
like,
people
medic!
up. And
you come in. Yeah.
So it was pretty funny. So in that moment, trying to figure, for a second, I'm like, okay, we need to make sure everyone's alive. And then, I had like a moment where Coach Taylor and we like locked eyes and I said, did we win? Because I didn't want to say it too loud if we didn't, and somebody heard
You're
that.
Like,
and she's
Flow
like,
Track's going to grab it.
yeah. And she's like, I think so. And then when we actually figured out, it was super cool. But
I thought we got third. And I was like, why are
you thought we got third?
I did. And I was like, or fourth maybe even. I was like, I know we like podiumed. I'm like, but we're acting way excited, like way excited.
But you were like,
about
whoa,
like a third.
simmer down.
I was just like, this doesn't seem to like be connected because we got second the year before, so
Yes.
it wouldn't make sense for us to be more excited about a third. But I'm saying like mentally not good,
Yeah, to be fair to Whitney, she did only she was injured and only trained for 4 weeks,
Yes.
which what she did was absolutely incredible.
Yes,
and so
I
her mind was
remember.
definitely not all there.
Not good.
For
Okay.
sure.
Not good at all.
For sure.
The fact
She was
that
one
you
of the
ran at
ones
all,
I was like,
yes.
I don't know
Yeah.
if she's going to be okay for a second.
Yeah, I wasn't. Also, note to self: if you're feeling that way, do not grab the mic with the interviews.
Okay.
Just let other people talk. Okay, you don't need to say anything.
You said something that you guys joke about, right?
Yeah.
And then in the Y Awards, you
Yeah,
brought
we
it back.
did.
I
We
think.
did
What
put
is
it
it
on
again that you said?
Okay, so I found out that we won literally right before they asked the question.
Like they said, how does it feel to be national champions? And that's when she figured out
That's
that
when
we
I
won.
found out we
You
won.
found out that moment?
Yeah, and then I looked at Anna
And I was laughing so hard because she just was like, we won. And so I'm laughing and I can't even pretend to try to answer this question. And
then I look at Anna and I was thinking she should talk because she came in first. I'm like, that's the responsibility of taking first on the team. You got to talk.
And I could not.
Then she couldn't. She looked at me like, I'm
like,
not talking.
help.
So I
And you
grabbed
guys,
the mic.
no eye contact.
Yeah, just eye contact.
knew.
I'm like,
We
she's
knew what-
not.
yeah, yeah.
I'm like,
We
she's
knew
not
what
going
the
to
other
say
one was
anything. I'm like,
saying.
I got you. Okay. Feels good. Feels real good. I didn't know how it felt. I didn't even process it. I just made something up, and just said it.
I'm just going to say, I think that's a bad question because, how else does it feel to win besides good? Like, what
Yes.
else are we supposed to say there?
You're like,
I don't
it feels
know.
terrible. I heard
Like,
it.
we could have had a better day. Like, no, you're not going to say that.
I did go a little overboard because that wasn't the best
good.
question. I'm like,
Real
I'm going to
good.
give you just a good.
It was amazing.
good
So Y
answer.
Awards, you do this, winning speech for I think Team of the Year, right? Women's cross country specifically. So then you brought it back,
Yeah.
which is great. And so after the show, I think I said on the show, I feel like that's an inside joke, and I don't know what it is. So then I texted Diljeet later, what's the story there? And then, so that's awesome. Okay, Anna, let's talk about the shared experience of women's cross country national championship is incredible. So obviously the 1500 outdoor in 2021, just a special individual moment for you. Hayward Field, being able to break the school record multiple times in multiple races. What was that race like? And what will you always kind of cherish from that moment for you?
I think something that was cool to me was like kind of like Whitney was saying, cross country. Like I'm incredibly proud of my cross country race because that was hard for a very long time, and I had to rely on teammates and just rely on trusting that coaches prepared us more than anything. But the 1500 in track was like, it was fun. I felt like I kind of, because I really like flew under the radar for like most of the time that I've been a college athlete, I've really flown under the radar. And so I feel like I was going into the race with like a secret. Like I knew that I could win, but I didn't think that anybody else out there thought that I could win besides, close teammates and friends and
Wasn't there
Coach
a
Taylor.
list put out of like the most likely to win and you weren't on it?
Yeah, I was. I don't even think I was close. I think the highest place is somebody had me at like 10th or 8th or something like that.
Did you use that as motivation?
I didn't actually look at any of that
You didn't know
beforehand. Yeah, because I knew what I was doing, so whatever anyone else said didn't matter. So I wanted to make sure to kind of keep that wall up.
Gotcha.
Until after I was done. Then I went through all of it and was like, oh, nice.
Then you celebrate. I feel like
yeah.
this is almost whether you thought it this way or not, hey, this girl from Fillmore is going to show everybody else.
Yeah, I don't know. That was cool. Something I thought of like after the first day that I broke the record, I was thinking about Whitney and because she was holding, like she had held it. And I was like, how cool is that it's two kids from little like southern central Utah, these tiny towns that like our best friends both get like have the opportunity and get to be the two top 1,500 runners at BYU ever. And that was like,
that's awesome.
It was just a really cool, I was like, that's cool. Like, I'm just going to take a moment to appreciate
that's
that.
Why we
that's
have
cool.
This show, because you two are amazing and connected. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's fun. But yeah, I definitely was like super nervous leading up to the race and stuff, but it's hard to put it into words just because it was so special because it was so many things built on each other, right? Like going off the momentum of teammates that are just incredible and getting to work out with them in practice every day. Coach Taylor, like what Whitney said, Coach Taylor has these super high goals that sometimes you're like, oh, like you really think I can do that? And she never lies to you. Like she's not gonna tell you can do something that you can't. She will be super honest.
Interesting.
Which can hurt sometimes. Most of the time it's great. Most of the time it's great because you can trust her. And so when she says like, I think you can win the 1,500 this year, I say, okay, like let's do it. I believe you. And so, and of course it's, like I've said, half of sports is like luck and being in the right moment at the right time and being just like 1 second off of being in the middle of a trip, or there's so many crazy things that could happen. And so half of it is just luck. But yeah, it was cool to like, I don't know, have that connection with Coach Taylor that I knew that she knew that I could do it too. So I feel like I said, like we had this secret, like, oh, nobody really knows what's going to happen, but I think I might know, like this could happen. And the race played out really nicely for the way that I like to run. Like had it been a different style, I don't know if I would have won. Like I like to think that I would have, but I don't know. And so it was a super fun tactical race to be in, and yeah, super special. I don't have any more words that can really describe it.
It was cool to watch because I was watching and there was a point in the race where I was like, she is going to win, because I know her as a runner and a person a lot. I really know her, and I was like, she's going to win this whole thing. And I got to watch, and it was incredible to watch her do that, just because I know everything, like I know her whole experience. I know everything that was like coming into it and everything, and I wanted it for her too. And I don't know. It was just really, really cool to watch too.
That's awesome. So what eligibility do you have left in what sport? Because track and cross country can be fun, if any.
We have one more, both of us have one more cross country season. So
just this season, and then we're done.
So yeah, when November comes and we finish that race, that'll be it.
There's no chance of ever coming back.
Yeah.
I feel like they keep giving you seasons, So they're like, oh, so you actually can come back.
You have a red shirt medical COVID year. You're like, wait, what?
Like, cool, I'll do it again. I'll stay on this team. This is
shirt,
great.
gray shirt, all these different shirts.
Gray
I'm
shirt,
like,
red shirt, blue shirt, all of that. Yeah, exactly. Well, with that in mind, we'll be watching the fall season with great anticipation, which will be exciting. After a COVID year and being so successful and mile record and national like this is school records aplenty, state championships. I'm not sure you need to add anything else to the resume, but there's another cross country season. So tell me about this team this year. Why should people be excited about defending your title?
I mean, I think one of the cool things is we have everyone back. Everyone that did it last year is back, and that's really cool. We have some really awesome freshmen that are super excited and ready to go, and I think and something cool is that we've been in it together, and so no matter what happens in the season, it's going to be, I mean, because in the end, right, it's not actually about the accolades and the those are cool, those are little cherries on top, but the real substance is is the friendships that you make. Like Whitney and I will be friends forever because of this thing that we've done together. And that's in and of itself amazing. Like there's not a girl on the team that I wouldn't call one of my very closest and best friends. The growth that we've had as people and stuff. So I think just each of these girls, I love them each so much. And so each one of them is so worth watching and listening to their story and getting to know them, because they all have amazing, incredible things coming, whether that's, All-Americans, national champions, or getting an awesome degree and getting an awesome job and just all those cool things. So I don't know. I really went off on a tangent there, but it's just
got
cool.
lots of love.
I just have lots of love, and I'm really sentimental with this being my last season.
Yeah.
Whitney knows
No,
I've lost
seriously.
it so many times. It's a great place to be. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And Whitney's got a shirt that says "Good Vibes" on.
Yeah,
so
we're just having good vibes.
it's good vibes.
Okay?
Yeah,
That's why you should watch. Good vibes.
I'll
Good
wear the
vibes
shirt
from
if
the
you
team.
want.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, congratulations on all the success, and like you said, it's cherry on top. But it's been fun to get to know you in a deeper way and kind of see your friendship and what's led up to everything. And thanks for joining me on Deep Blue.
Thank you. Thanks for having
Thanks
us.
for having us.
Okay, that'll do it for us. Listen to previous episodes on the BYU Radio app, where podcasts are found for Anna Camp Bennett, Whitney Orton-Morgan, and producer Trent Reimschussel. I'm Jarom Jordan. You've just listened to Deep Blue on BYU Radio.